Hey everyone, welcome in. Betsperts Golf, Ryan Noonan, Andy Molitor, PGA Championship, Aronimink. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, not a lot. Apologies if the audio is a little less crisp. I'm on vacation, but I'm not gonna. If this were like,
Hashtag
I
no
don't
days
even want to.
off.
Yeah, well, I don't want to like disparage any other tournaments, but let's just pick on Detroit because they didn't get Scotty and the Ram did. If this were Detroit and are on vacation, I'd probably be like, Ryan, you can just knock out 30 minutes by yourself, right? But it's a major. There's a lot to talk about. It's a fun course. I think that's one of the most fun things in handicapping golf is when we run into some of these courses we haven't seen in ages. Sometimes that even happens last week, as like 3 out of the last 8 years we've had to figure out a course for the Truist slash Wells Fargo. It's kind of
It's true.
it's almost nice to be like, hey, I know Quail Hollow. But yeah, Aronimink, it's been, I'm sure you discussed it at length yesterday, and everyone's talked about it. It was a BMW 8 years ago, and that course was played in slightly different conditions, so it's real hard to use anything that's more than 5 years old anyway. But I mean, and not only that, but considering the players that were at the course that day, how many are on the Champions Tour or not on the tour, or playing completely different golf right now. So
We're
it's
not playing golf.
not playing golf. Yeah, it's kind of like a throwaway. It's nice to see kind of how it played, but they made some changes. Things have been tightened up, and it's not really useful information. So you are kind of just starting from scratch, evaluating the course and how we think it'll play and what we think matters here. And I think a lot of people went a lot of different directions, but it's still going to come down to, I don't know, that the opposite of what we've seen the last few weeks or so. It's kind of not a Bombers tournament, which is
Maybe it is.
yeah, it's tough to say because it's like
Did you see
we have
Rory's presser at all today? Did you hear
yeah,
any?
yeah, yeah.
No.
I did a little. I seen some quotes. It's tough because it's like the length is whatever. You only have the two par fives. The front nine is a wedge contest. So like the narrative that it's just going to be the Rorys, the Cams, whatnot. It's tough to get there, but at the same time, well,
Okay,
they do a lot of other stuff great too, and we've seen them play pretty well at all kinds of golf courses. So I don't know, and that was the question I wanted to go with here because first glance you look at it, and like I said, it doesn't look just like the Bombers are going to have this huge advantage because, like I said, especially on the front nine, even the guys who aren't hitting it super super far, they're gonna have like what 140 in. There's gonna be a lot of wedges for those guys as well, and I don't know if you can set yourself apart enough on the fives and a couple of the longer fours on the back nine to really have distance matter that much. I think maybe it's a combination week where I love some distance. It's great. It's like I said, 145 in because that's an easy shot for these guys. It's easier 90 in, 83 in. It's not like it's not an advantage. There are going to be the guys who can hit it and not spray it instead of all these bunkers. You're going to have some incredibly easy pitches to find some scoring opportunities on that front nine. So I don't know where'd you land with driving this week.
Yeah, I mean, especially with what Roy's saying here too. This press conference here on Tuesday morning that strategy off the tee is basically non-existent. Quoting Rory, basically, we're not thinking about less than driver very much. We are club head, cover off, and send it. I would argue, to your point earlier, with maybe that was before we even turned on the cameras, because the green complexes are kind of the lone defense. What they'd be able to do
Yeah.
pin placement wise. If you're going to tell me that a guy can have 90 in versus 150 in, it's an advantage of being able to find and attack that pin if it's tucked in the right specific quadrant. So yeah, it seems like like a lot of Donald Ross courses, I think the kind of design is to be more difficult as you get closer. That's somewhat Pinehurst. Pinehurst is not super penal off the tee. You could get into the wiregrass, and we saw Bryson and Rory blindly drive and pound the ball down the fairway. I mean, even missed the fairway, and still because they were hitting, lofted clubs into the greens that are very hard to hold. they had a ton of success. So it's kind of what I think we see again. The problem is this does not have sub air. We're probably getting rain on Wednesday.
We are getting some rain. I don't know, and there's way more buckets than this, but I kind of put the courses in three different buckets when I think about off the tee and how it matters. It isn't distance versus accuracy really. It is, hey, I'm at a resort course with 75 wide on the landing area. Anybody who can hit a mile is going to be a huge advantage. It is a bomber's course. And then we run into some of these where the design makes it less than driver. 2 months ago we had 3 or 4 of those where we want to look at how people played with less than driver, how they did when they had to club down, when they're coming to I don't know, RBC a little bit, and some of those other courses where there's some forced layups, and I want to see less than driver. Where it's not like distance is a disadvantage, these bombers, because they can still, hit their 3-woods, hit their irons pretty well, obviously, with the club head speed they generate. But I still want to look at how people played when they were forced to do that. And then this is like the third one where it's not a bomber's course, but it's not so tight and tiny where we are going less than, like you said, like Rory said. It's not a bomber's course, but it's not because we got 22-yard wide landing areas that are absolutely, covered by bunkers and
or trees,
5-inch Bermuda grass, things that are kikuya stuff, barrancas, all kinds of stuff that's gonna get you in a lot of trouble. It's just not a bomber's course because of I don't know the setup of the holes. I guess really the architecture and the distances you're going to have are going to be easy for even guys who aren't super long. But like you said, so I think I'm with you. Distance is an advantage. It's just not a huge advantage here. And then the guys, I think on the other end of the spectrum too, spraying it isn't going to get you in lots and lots of trouble. But guys who spray it a ton, I mean, you can't always be in trouble here.
Sure.
You can't play this like Augusta where, I can hit out of the pine straw here. It's like, no, there's 1.5 million bunkers, and you're going to have a hard time finding the right spots on these greens if you're constantly hitting from fairway bunkers, if you're hitting out of position. So you do have to have some semblance of accuracy.
Yeah, I think I think distance always helps. I think if you're playing from the fairway, that always helps too. To your point, because we don't have, I think the rough's going to be growing up, but and probably a little bit tougher in the wet conditions. But you look at the landing spots for, wayward tee shots here. If you can make the case that if you miss by a lot and it's not just off and maybe into some of these bunker clusters, if you spray it a little bit, you actually might be even better off than if you were to just roll into some of the bunkering. So
it's funny that just came up. I was talking with Cal about a bit of a polarizing figure this week in Ricky Fowler, and he joked about having a winning Ricky Fowler ticket is like a unicorn. And I said, I have one. I have one from Detroit when he won, and I said he had no business. And it was the same kind of thing where he missed that tee shot in the playoff, I think it was, by so far that he was back in position, but then he was in a puddle, and they're like, we'll give you relief. Why don't you get into even a better position for this? So that's the Ricky Fowler experience, I guess, but not somebody I'm super excited to go to bat with this week. You talked about a little about the green complex stuff. I think that's the story.
Yeah.
The bunkers. What's the number of bunkers you have? It's 100, 180?
176.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's the most.
Matters, but these greens, they're large, they're
Huge.
fast, diagonal spines, quadrants, a ball on the wrong side of that, some of these, whatever you want to call them, ridges, spines, that's, if it's, you could have a 20-foot putt from the wrong side of that, having to go over one of those, quadrant spine differentiators, whatnot, and you got to be pretty worried about 3-putting from 20.
Oh yeah.
There's some very difficult putts. Proximity is tough to use anytime. It gets tougher with stuff like this, but you really need to be throwing some darts if you want to have good shots at this, because, and that's, I think that's the reason a lot of people started to look at 3-putt avoidance this week. It's the ability to read and control your speed on some of these I mean, 12 and a half, 13, I think we're thinking for speed this week, and that doesn't make anything easier. So it's probably putting's tough to use in modeling, but I think when you start to look at things like that, where you can actually say this guy has a skill.
Yeah.
You know, this person is a good lag putter. They have good hands. They have good speed control judgment. Maybe they have a good caddy. Honestly, in Cam Young's case, like some of his putting, has changed over the course of the last however many weeks it's been since he got this guy. So, yeah, I don't know how heavy did you look at putting, just because of that.
I did. I looked at it here. I'll show you guys some of the stuff. Before, I want to remind folks, if you do not subscribe somehow to either Betsperts Golf or the channel here, take a second to do so. A thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you want access to all that we have going on over at Betsperts Golf and the rabbit hole yourself, do some of your own modeling, some data deep dives, all that stuff. We still have this deal active through our friends over at Novig. This is an article up on the site, which is very easy for you to find. I'll walk you through how to sign up, deposit with $5, minimum $5 deposit at Novig. They're going to give you 50 extra bucks to bet. So you can watch the show, find some things to bet them Novig, and they're going to give you 50 extra bucks on top of your $5. And then they're going to send you an email, assuming you use promo code BSG or click the links here. It's going to get you the ability to access Betsperts Golf for an entire calendar year for no additional charge. That's it. No fine print, $5 at Novig, promo code BSG. Come over and hang out with us. It's a good time. All right. Yeah, what did I do in the modeling? Let me pull up what I have here. This is my model. What I did do putting-wise is I looked at difficult putting setups. So I looked at the last 12 months. I put three-putt avoidance, average and difficult, and I put gain putting average, difficult, and very difficult. So I wanted to weed out any of the difficult putting setups. So
let's talk about that. I don't know if we've ever addressed that, because you and I kind of have the same strategy with that. When we're looking, hey, three putting is difficult here. We're not just selecting difficult, because it's such a small sample sometimes. And the more data you can work with, the better, I think.
Yeah.
When you start to look at it, a lot of what we do is just getting rid of easy.
Correct.
So when we categorize how rounds played by, every round ever that's in here is categorized by how the field did at, everything in here. And when we look at how the field did at three putting, if everybody's just draining everything, nobody's scooting them past the hole, everybody's, a high percentage of three putt avoidance, we want to just weed those rounds out. For this, just looking at, it was at least average, and it's tough because when you look at a whole field, you're getting a lot of shitty golfers on Thursday and Friday, relatively sometimes. So that's trickier too. But that's why I don't mind throwing average in there as well.
For sure. And this only has, some of the things have the 5 categories, putting. It's, we classify very difficult and very easy in there as well. 3-putt avoidance, it just has the 3 buckets. So I really, to your point, I want to get out the easy stuff. Recently we were at Harbor Town, right? And those are small, flat greens. So 3-putt happens very rarely there, right? It's even easy to gain around the green because all those greens are so flat and small. So I want to pull out any of that data here, just kind of when the test is tough, right? So same thing to gain putting. I think that's the same premise. So because selecting these 3 and these 2 and getting a sense of how players have performed in that sample. So look at it here.
Funny, by doing that, you're probably, if you looked at the rounds by clicking on one of the blue numbers, it'll show you all the rounds that it's selected for each player that counted against those metrics, those filters. But if you went large greens, you'd get a lot of the same ones. Like what we're looking at is, hey, these are large greens that weren't easy, and because there's some courses that have large greens, but they're just so easy to hit, or they're shorter. They have really nice, easy approach angles, and people aren't 3-putting anyway. So, we are kind of looking at big greens that people had struggles with.
Correct. It's kind of baked in the sense of that the 3-putt avoidance piece of it too. So here's 3-putt avoidance from 25 plus feet in these difficult setups last 12 months. Small sample for Jon Rahm. He just makes the cut, but his tops in that. And Rahm is historically a pretty good putter and lag putter. This is another Ricardo. You know,
Ricky.
yeah, it's just, so Mayo and I did his preview show together on Thursday morning before the Truist started. And Pat was very surprised when I shared my model and Ricky was fourth in the model. Par four scoring is really good for Ricky. Strong field stuff's been really good for Ricky. 3-putt avoidance has been good for Ricky. And then he obviously showed out at Truist. So it did not hurt his cause there. But 10th in just strokes gained putting in the sample. Second in the 3-putt avoidance mark here too. Horschel, sponsor exemption. Congratulations. Here's Steven Yeager. Chris Wrighton obviously putted lights out last week at the Truist on his way to a win. Rory, Burns, Straka, Harry Hall, and your guy, Brant Snedeker.
You know what hurts worse than getting, like, I had 2 guys finish third last week, each tournament. But we talked about Brant Snedeker, and I joked, and I'm like, I just can't bet him. He's 45 years old. There was people that, I looked and found 150 on him. And I'm like, I'm not going to waste $20 on this. Pain. Hopefully somebody listened to that and be like, you know what? I got to do it. I just got to do it because.
Let us know in the chat. Let us know because Andy threw it out there last week.
Anybody bet Brant Snedeker? Because somebody in the chat said, like, first round leader. He wasn't there, but he was close. He played really well all weekend.
He did play really well right out of the gate.
It was just kind of a weird. A putting contest was won by a guy who won a putting contest by putting.
Yeah.
Not we'll have this week, although, like we said, it is super important to figure out who's going to. It's almost like a negative thing for me. Like some of the guys that are just can't lag putt. You're not going to save it. You're not going to save it on enough holes because you're going to be doing some scrambling here and there. And if you can't save par from being out of position once or twice around, you're not going to compete to win this thing.
Totally agree. Yeah, he's 3-putt avoidance. Some of the same names crossing over. Anyone new that pops up. Cam Young is here at 10th. You can see Cam Young third overall in strokes gained putting in this subset. Scotty's kind of right there too. 3-putt avoidance. He's kind of, just significantly above average across the board. Not, top 10 in any of them, but has done really well in those setups as well. So just strokes gained putting. Burns, Griffin, Cam Young, Harry Hall, Matt McCarty, Bobby Mack, Dan Brown on a smaller sample. Mav, Akshay, Ricky, and then, Bridgman, McCarty. This is funny to me. I noticed this yesterday with Rahm, looking at like approach putting. And you see some of these great putters, Harry Hall, Mav, Bridgman, Denny, their approach putting. They don't give a rip. Like they're trying to make the putt, right? So like they don't care if they're leaving themselves maybe 3.5, 4 feet coming back.
Good thing the hole was there to stop that one, huh?
Yeah, they're going for it. So these are great putters, but they do not grade out well from an approach putting standpoint, but because they're not trying to leave it close, they're trying to make it. So they don't, I think that's probably just, having no concerns about leaving yourself a little bit of a comebacker. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. It's showed out in data. So yeah,
that is
good stuff for some of the top
interesting
guys
too. If you are just that confident in your under 6 foot stuff, why wouldn't you be more aggressive? Like I'm sure there's analytics that have told these guys, or at least 1 or 2 of them, like you should be more aggressive in trying to find the bottom of the cup because
no one's historically, and you can check this, has ever made a putt that they left short.
That is also analytics will tell you that.
Yep. Hashtag man.
You've paid attention more than me. I've checked the news and I've checked Twitter a little bit. I'm not getting any Morikawa news. Do you?
No, I have not seen any Morikawa news.
Because I'm just like, wedges, bent grass putting has shown up in majors, played a lot better this year.
Yeah.
But obviously the withdrawal sucks. Like, I've been circling around him a little bit.
Same.
I just can't do it, obviously, with the injury concern. And I'm guessing if he withdraws before the tournament. Maybe you'd get your money back. But
I don't think he withdraws. I think he's fine. I think.
Are we doing Augusta again? Where it's just like, should we be betting a Morikawa top 10? Because
correct.
It's a pretty freaking good course fit, and he played well this year.
I'm not worried about it. I think that he didn't play well at Doral. Shocker. Not a great fit for him, right? And then he withdraws from the Truist. Also, Quail Hollow, not a great fit for him. Like, I know he can play. He's good. He can play along courses and compete. He's done it. He's won there. But like, if you're just thinking, hey, I'm not 100%, or I really maybe would value getting up to, get up to this course and play a little bit and practice and rest and not necessarily dive into Quail Hollow, I think he's probably okay. I don't think we're at a risk of him WDing here. I think that was just a matter of maybe just preparation considering all that's happened this year. So, because again, you go back to where we were heading into Sawgrass and he was at the top of the world. Like, you were talking about a guy that was trending to be sub 20 at these majors to start the year. So he is a tricky one. He's very interesting depending on how you're structuring your card and how heavy you're going at, I guess, the top tiers. He's kind of in that next group and not really priced there to me. And I still believe he's definitely there. So I get why I haven't seen a lot of people clicking him either, because I think there's just a lot of trepidation on how healthy is he.
50-1 at bookmaker. Just like you said, if we knew he was 100% and he was playing like he played in those weeks leading up to, before the injury.
He's 18 and 22.
Yeah, he's up there in the, Sander kind of range, I guess. Sander Ludwig,
yeah,
I suppose. And yeah, it's just, I think I might have to pull the trigger. My card's getting kind of big this week, although when the first guy off your card last week wins the tournament, it's a good week to maybe go 8 deep.
Yeah.
Although I didn't talk much Truist, that was a good tournament. Writing it's tough to judge when some of these guys, if they're going to make the turn over here that quick, and God bless me did. I had Nico all weekend and just couldn't quite get there. Yeah. He wasn't making everything like a certain other European was.
Yeah, it was entertaining. If it's on leaderboard, no one wanted to go and take it on Sunday, but good for Wright, and he did. So, that's the kind of the putting way out. That's kind of the way I'm looking at putting this week. Is I want to your point, weed out the easy stuff, because I think this is really where you can get some guys that could separate. Obviously, this grades out well for Sam Burns. Just I don't trust him for 4 rounds tee to green. Matt McCarty's playing some really good golf. Bobby Mack is absolute bulldog. The approach stuff is a little bit wonky with him, but man, when he is even flat to the field approach wise, then he's pretty interesting. So these are some fascinating names. I do have a Jacob Bridgman ticket from a while ago that I would not bet fresh today, and it did not move in my favor. So it was a bad. I've seen people sharing on social too some of their bad futures, some numbers that did not hold up or got better, or maybe got significantly worse, because the Bridgman number that I have in pocket is worse than you could go and get right now. So trying to write him up for my article and make the case that, like, I wouldn't bet this right now, and I can't make a case that he's going to go out and win this golf tournament. But he did win a Siggy earlier in the year, and he can putt really well. So maybe that's it. Maybe I'm on Bridgman and back into a worse number, and he contends. But
he peaked too early, and by too early I mean February. 5 minutes before you place your outright bet on him.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, I don't play the futures game as much as other people I know. Once in a while, you end up with some good numbers, but you talked about structuring the card. I have some DFS thoughts. We can save that though, and I have another guy I want to talk about when we get to him. But Scotty 5, Rory 9, Cam 12, Rahm 15, Xander 18. If you had to, are we just chasing the Cam Young dragon again? I think I might. It's not the same kind of fit, but Jesus, even
I don't know what's not a fit.
His Sunday, yeah, it was like his Sunday. It was like, oh, that wasn't a very good Sunday, and then you look, like, man, it was close to being a pretty decent Sunday. Just a putt here and a putt there, and obviously the one hole where he struggled and gave up a couple strokes, and suddenly he's in a playoff. And it's kind of like when we talk about, I'm down on him because of that. And it's like how we talk about Scotty's slump, where it's like, oh man, this guy can't win a tournament. Yeah, sucks getting top 5 every week. Like,
right.
I bet that doesn't pay very well.
There's no setup that's not Cam friendly right now. Actually, and I think was more impressive was, I mean, the Saturday was obviously awesome. He was dominant, but the Friday was impressive. He didn't have it Friday. His tee to green was not great. He was a little bit off on his driver. His approach game wasn't quite as dialed because he was playing out of position a little bit more. And he scrambled his face off. He routinely put himself within like 3 feet from off the greens or from the bunker. He was awesome. And to me, that was like super impressive to show that he can hang in there, shoots 1 under 70 with his like C game. And that to me was like indicative of kind of confirmation bias on this is a guy that has changed his game pretty significantly. We've seen these heaters where he's just been absolutely piping it and the approach game's been great and he's sinking everything. But that round showed me a lot, and I became even more of a Cam stan because I was really impressed with how he kind of managed when he didn't have his best stuff, because we've seen mostly as of late his best stuff, and everyone's good when they're good, but to be able to really continue to score and figure it out when you don't have it, I was really impressed with that. And then parlay that into a Saturday, which made us think that Sunday was going to be another impressive barnstorming day and maybe another win. But yeah, the answer to the question, are we going back to Cam? I'm going back to Cam. I have been betting him a little bit at a time for 2 months here. So I collectively have a pretty heavy position that kind of equates to like 27-1 on Cam. So just essentially a future, not a future like some. I know people have triple digits. Those were the early Cam slappies, if you will. People that are blindly betting.
I know, but the question, if you didn't, would you bet him at 1250 here?
I would.
I think that's yeah. And I think the answer is yes. Again this week, where I'm just like, I'm fine letting him play third fiddle to other names when he probably should be, talking about first chair at this point and how well he's playing.
Yeah.
So I did have 2 guys near the top. One isn't as close. I don't know if you want to guess. It's under 30.
Under 30 near the top. Let me see. I'm going to pull up, let me look at my model and see. Did you go to Xander?
No, never. I'm a never Xander.
Oh, that's right.
Guy.
You're a never Xander guy.
It's been a while.
Shame on me. I should have known that. You went to Fitz.
I did go to Fitz. And that's a question for you, being a Northeastern guy. Do you consider Brookline a bit of a cousin, maybe? A little bit of an architect? It's hard to find good comps for this course, truthfully.
We don't go a lot of par 70s.
You can go with the architect. You can go other par 70s. That doesn't do me much good looking at those.
I'm not going with the architect because the best Donald Ross tracks we don't see on tour, right? We don't go to Seminole. We don't go to Mid Pines. Pinehurst 2 is, rotational.
And then start naming par 70s. A lot of
I know.
Yeah, they're not good comps for this either. So it is kind of like I need to find tough tracks in the Northeast, and it's not a long list of spots that there's some really tough tracks in the Northeast.
Yeah.
But
the Donald Ross courses we go to on tour are Detroit and Sedgefields.
We're not playing Bethpage every year.
Yeah.
We're not playing some of these tracks like that. So Brookline,
I don't even think you have to sell me on Brookline being a comp for Fitz. I think Fitz is playing fantastic golf. It's all very believable.
I just need a little extra something for him. But yeah, it's kind of a little bit of reinforcement. But he has the near win, the win. Actually, he won. I think he won the U.S. Junior there too
at
Brookline when he was younger than that. Accuracy, iron precision, finding the correct sector of these greens, like that's his game. I'm almost glad he hit the bad Truist week. Like, give me a little bit better of a number. So
correct.
You can get him right around 30. I think that's a pretty nice number on Matt.
I think 30 is.
Those are my shortish ones. Like Bryson, I don't know that.
That's what I wanted to ask you about the live guys.
Rahm's number's so short. I mean, he's very good. He plays great. It's hard because we don't get to see him a lot. He had an albatross that may or may not exist, which is very, very funny. It's just too short of a number. Bryson's kind of in the same range. Like, if I'm paying for Bryson, same price I'm getting like Fitz here, A-Bear, I'm not super sure I want him here either. Because, again, it's not one where I think he can just overpower this course. His chipping game is hit and miss sometimes for me too. He used to have a better short game, I believe.
It's a good, really great putter. I don't trust the irons for 4 rounds.
Yeah.
He's got to be really, really precise. I just don't trust it. The Rahm one's tough because he gets me every time. Like the amount of times I've bet Rahm in the last, I think I've bet him 3 or 4 majors in the last couple of years, and really haven't even given me many sweats. But I also believe that he's still a top 5 player in the world. So that one's tricky, and there's just not a bad Rahm setup.
It's a fair price. Is where I'm at.
Yeah. No interest personally in Bryson. Yeah, Fitz domestics between 18 and 23, I guess. So if you're talking about like the Chris number, almost 30, that's pretty off market and a pretty good one. That's a really good price. I like Fitz a lot. If I didn't go above him on the odds board, he would have, if I would have maybe added more guys, it probably would have gone Fitz, Morikawa, along with my Cam, and that would have probably been like my 3 main guys. And instead, I went up above that a little bit, and I did bet Rory, 950. Again, if we're kind of making a decision comparatively, Scotty being
Price wise,
485, like right around there, that just doesn't track for me. And I think this is a great Scotty setup. And I came in thinking I was betting Scotty this week. I was going to overextend myself, having some Cam stuff, and I'm going to bet Scotty too. And the more I looked at it, looking at some of the par 4 scoring, look at some of the approach, inside 15 stuff, looking at some of like the course setup stuff, where it could be really driver heavy, soft conditions. I just can't. I couldn't get there on Scotty with Rory being, closer to 10.
Twice the price, yeah.
And I haven't seen a lot of Rory. Be interested to see when we get like the golf tips checker report to see, how many people are on Rory. Just haven't seen a lot of Rory. I've seen a lot of Scotty. People don't want to bet last major champion. We want to bet Scotty on the come, and I get it. I think Scotty's inevitable. But like, again, we have to make decisions based off of price, and it just doesn't track to me that Scotty should be that much further ahead of Rory and Cam, even though I expect Scotty to show up and play well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I look price-wise, I think the comparison, like you said, comparing Scotty to Rory Price, it does make sense if you can get close to 10. So
yeah,
I'm there. I'm there. Just once I bet Cam, I'm like, I don't know if I can take any more of these short prices.
Yeah, I get that. Again, like little stupid donkey parlays type stuff. Bet365 has one posted for you. It is a Rory to win, Scotty to top 5, Cam to top 10 for 100 to 1. So if you like Rory to win, you got Bet365. It's a fun little sprinkle. It includes ties, so obviously it's a pretty narrow range of outcomes and distribution for those 3. But 100 to 1, betting on the top 3 guys to fare pretty well is something that I thought was a pretty interesting little sprinkle. So Xander, no Xander. Henley price is nice, but like you said, it's hard to keep adding guys when I have Rory.
I just assumed Henley was going to be 50, and a lot of places he is. But again, right now at Chris is 74.51. Take my money, I guess.
Wow, that's a good price.
It just always, he models so well, the irons, I don't have to sell you on Russell Henley. Like, if you run an approach model, he's going to be at the top. He's going to be near the top. He actually has nice finishes at majors. He skipped the Truist, right? He skipped the Truist, yeah.
Yep. Bogey avoidance third. This is strokes gained total. Difficult, very difficult average scoring conditions.
It fits his profile pretty well, so I'm there on. Again, I'm not betting him at 45 or whatever he is at certain places, but
yeah,
I mean the same thing goes with Colin. Like Colin at 50 is a massive number for a guy who's 20. If we don't have the doubt,
I agree. The Hatton's another one that's interesting to me.
Card's getting big. Yeah, Hatton's at 70 at Chris. Looked at that pretty hard too. He put together a couple good rounds at Augusta, man.
No, it's Oakmont. I mean, look, this is smaller sample stuff for him, but he's top 5 in both of these buckets. This is strokes gained, ball striking, strong fields, capped at 36 rounds. He's 5th. And then strokes gained total, difficult, very difficult, average scoring conditions, last 24 rounds. He's 5th there. And then, 9th here in strokes gained total, strong fields, capped at 36 rounds. So he's, again, last 3 majors, he was 4th at Oakmont. He fell back on Sunday at the Open Championship, but he entered the 4th round, T4, and then obviously backdoored a little bit at Augusta. He was not in contention at all, but he finished T4. So, again, all those rounds count. You have to finish the whole tournament. So, yeah, he theoretically wasn't in contention, but he finished well. So we like him on par 4s. He's always been a good par 4 scorer before he left the tour. Wins at Bay Hill, like long, tough courses, strong tracks. I like Hatton there. So it's another guy that was 80 last week, and I just knew where my card was shaping up to go, and some of the stuff I had. I still had Nap futures, which I was able to get out of. But at the time, I was like, I'm probably shooting at Scotty. I can't be adding a bunch of these guys down the board, and Hatton's got smaller. But like you say, Chris number is still pretty appealing.
It's a major. You got to bet your guys. That was the other reason. The number was big for me for Henley, but it's also a major. Like if Russell Henley wins a major championship, and I'm not there, it's not gonna be good.
Not gonna feel good.
What if Aaron Wise wins this week?
I know.
I don't think he's in the field.
I don't think he's in the field. He was T3 for a couple minutes on Thursday last week, so I was pretty excited about it. So
I'll let you tell me about the rest of your card. I haven't even peeked yet. I've been busy.
That's it. Rory's my only new ad. Rory, and then like you said, Cam futures. Chris Gotterup future as well. Obviously, another one that seemed good at the time. He's been fine. He just hasn't been great. He's T25 or better in 3 of his last 4 starts. Obviously, that's the Masters and 3 signature events. Again, there's a scenario where this course plays super well for Chris Gotterup. I wouldn't add it now. And again, the number that I have is worse than things that are currently available.
He's one of my horses too. I've been riding him for a while. I was close. A lot of people bet Spaun. I'm a lot of people. I mean, Oakmont comp, I guess. Approach heavy
playing
major
better
in Pennsylvania. Yeah. He's playing better, and it's another one too where he's high enough in the approach numbers where I can take a shot at him at 80 or 90 to 1. So got a big number on him. Some people got bigger numbers. There's triple digit bets out on JJ Spaun. His number got driven down a little bit, and then back to I have one more. And again, it speaks to the comp courses. Maybe not the greatest comp course because I think it was a little easier than we thought it was going to be, but something local, something nearby that we played last year. Philly Cricket. Not a terrible comp.
No.
And again, another guy that's like 80 to 1 and has played decent golf and is a guy I've gone to bat with a few times. So Sepp Straka, 70 or 80 to 1. He's another one where he's won on a comp-ish course.
Sure.
He ranks high enough in approach where I can take him, and he's not one of the big names that's going to get driven down into the 50s, I don't think. So I think you still can get a good number on Sepp Straka. So 6-person card? Is that where I stop? I think so.
Okay. Don't hate it. Yeah, I like the Fitz play. I like the Morikawa play. Obviously, I like Russell Henley. I think one of these guys is to win the golf tournament, though. I think Scotty, Cam, or Rory are winning the golf tournament, and then I have 2 of the 3. And if Scotty just goes ahead and does it to us, then we saw it coming. But I think you got good prices on elite guys, and that's part of it too, right? There's just going to be drift down the board when the perception is Scotty opened basically at 5 and took some money. Like I thought there was a chance that I was holding out for Scotty. Can we move to 6? Right? Could we get a good Rory Cam at the Truist, and then we got a good showing at Live Virginia with Rahm and Bryson, and something happens, and like all of a sudden Scotty drifts to 6. That's kind of was my hope coming into the week, and we didn't get that. And Scotty is basically short of 5 everywhere for the most part. There's a couple
And
links.
I think it's a good week to watch, really watch Thursday's rounds, and see if there's some guys that drifting for the wrong reasons that you think they can get it back. And
Yeah.
Rory's probably one of those guys where if Rory starts a little slow, I've seen him go out and tear courses apart, and all he has to do is make it to Saturday. I don't know. The
tricky part is we might have the lowest scoring on Thursday, right?
Yeah, I don't know that. Well, and that's what I'm saying. If he just goes out and has an okay day, and a few guys who aren't winning the tournament, go out and shoot 64s, and his number fades a little bit, I could be interested in something like that. I think scoring is going to be a little lower here than maybe what we projected because of Thursday, and because without the sub air, it is going to be softer than probably expected. I don't think we get to BMW numbers. That was 20 in the playoff, I think. But
yeah, no, that was really wet.
Mid-teens is in play if it stays wet, I think. I think normal weather, if they could drain it and dry it, projecting is more like an Augusta 10 to 12, but probably get a little bit further than that. Winter's probably 15 under. We don't usually talk about that, but it's a major, so you can bet on that sort of thing. So I've been trying to figure that one out. I haven't looked at the hole-in-one stuff yet. The hole-in-one number at Augusta kind of just found its level because enough people bet it, and they actually offered decent limits on it in some places. 10 years ago, you could get pretty good numbers on the hole-in-one, but it's the same course every year, and they know what's going to happen.
Where those pins are.
We know where the pin's going on 16 on Sunday. We know where it's going on 6 for most of the part. It's like people are going to make some hole-in-ones there at a certain clip. Aronimink, I don't know. So I'm going to dig into these threes a little bit and figure out if there's a price to be played, because it is, again, it's a major. I like to play a few props.
Yes, your model is a little bit more, seems accuracy based. Again, distance from the fairway capturing 20% of it. So there's a little bit more accuracy wedge, and it's kind of a different, unique top of the board here. When you get these Henley, Siwoo, Spawns, Burgers, Connors in the top 10 of the model, it's weighing on that a little bit more. So interesting.
Yeah, I might do another one just because. After talking to you a little, I kind of want to change things up, but I was happy with what I landed on. And the model isn't the model isn't the end all be all for me. It never is.
Yeah.
It's usually just a starting point for research. Like, why is this guy so high? Why is this guy so low? What did I miss? What am I not looking at? What did I look at that's wrong? So,
I like a fun name. I like a fun expert model name. So the Wanamaker Wizard model from Joe gets a click for me here because he had fun with it. So let's see what he did. Let's see what we get. It doesn't want us to look at it. I'm biased. I think this model is pretty excellent.
This is a good one. Matt Fitzpatrick, 5.
Yeah. Colin, 10.
Sepp. A little higher on the live guys, yeah.
Yep, some live stuff.
Speaking of live, Palfrey, a friend from across the sea, says he's been getting abused by the guys in the WhatsApp betting group for suggesting he likes Neiman to top 10 at like 9 to 1. It's a big number for a guy who used to be, I don't know, like how good was Neiman with his approach at the peak of his powers?
I mean, what he won Greenbrier and he won Riviera. You win Riviera, it's one of those like you had my attention and now you have my curiosity, or you had my curiosity now you have my attention situations.
It's a big number, 9 to 1 to top 10. I don't know where you're
just never showed a lick of anything in major championships.
Even before live, like
before live.
No, didn't he get a yellow square finally?
Yes.
Was that like a big deal?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. I think it was Oakmont. Or it was the Open Championship. Yeah, it was.
I don't want Joaquin Phoenix. What are you doing to me, Google?
I mean, it's a big number. It's a big number, but I don't feel like that.
T8 at the PGA Championship last year.
Last year, okay.
And then cut from the last two.
And that's not been all that great on Live this season.
No.
Again, Mickey Mouse setups.
Nico, what is he failing majors? Or just Masters? I don't know. He's in good form too. I bet him last week. I bet him a few times. I've had him twice this year where he finished second and third as an outright bet, which stinks.
He's insanely impressive.
It's
right?
tough to have everybody, you know?
Yeah. Nikolai needs to show me a little bit more polish. I think that when he can blindly wail away at the Masters, in Houston, even last week a little bit, those are spots where he's going to pop, where his just huge distance advantage is something that he can separate. Again, when you are going driver 6-iron into a 600-yard par 5, that is insane. And again, a reason that we need to roll the ball back because that's just insane. I mean, just casual 194 off the tee. Oh yeah, I got a 6-iron in. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's nuts. So those are the courses where I think he's still going to obviously continue to contend, and he'll start to break through and win some of those. When we have to get into spots where you need a little bit more consistency, a little bit more touch, a little bit more nuance and feel stuff, I don't think he's quite there yet, personally. So I'm not super excited about him for this week, but again, he's real and definitely going to win some of these spots. Like, does he show up to Detroit and can he bomb it away and just send it? Is he playing at Craig Ranch next week? Probably not, but those would be spots for him.
KJ Boldenvan says outright betting, pick 2 of these guys if you had to pick them. Luda, Fleetwood, Morikawa, Spieth. Price-wise, I don't think I could get there with Spieth. It's too big of a... I don't want a wild card at a course like this. Like he's going to have he's going to have a big number on one hole.
Yeah, his number's big.
It's so big. I get it. But I just don't think he can keep it together for 72 here.
It's one of the only guys that I would be so excited about being like really in contention that I'm not there. Like, I've come full round on Spieth. I think he's I just want to see him win. I want to see him win again. I want to see him contend in big events again. I think he's good for the game. Morikawa.
Obviously, I'm already on Morikawa, so for me, it'd be between Ludwig and Fleetwood. And Tommy's the guy I've bet a few times this year. Ludwig's the guy I've bet. I used him last week and one and done. He top 10 last week. Oh man, he's such a good approach player. But like I said, I'm a little down on distance, where I don't think it's a huge differentiator. That's tough. I'm making you pick.
I'd go Ludwig Morikawa. Tommy showed us a little bit last week, but also showed like why he's frustrating. Like, that was another spot where, like, grab that by the throat and take it, right? Cam struggled, right? 4 putts, falls back. Tommy's there, kind of a eclectic leaderboard. You want to prove and show me that you're a top 10 golfer?
It's nice euphemism for...
Yeah, I don't know.
You should be able to rip through it. How many times have you been on the Ryder Cup team? How many times have you competed and should have won? Now you finally got your win. Like, yeah, go take it.
Yeah.
You are the elite golfer. If Cam takes a step back, you're next up. Go get it. And yeah, it just wasn't.
Didn't want to. Just didn't want to. And Ludwig's got all that too. Ludwig is like mesmerizing at times, and all the traits are very loud and very exciting. And I don't know. I feel like we expect so much from him. We still have to remember that he's still pretty young and relatively inexperienced, but like, he also, similar to Spieth, just has these holes, these situations where it's like, what the hell happened here? It's tricky.
Alex Fitz would have been a sick call by you, Donnie, last week.
Donnie.
That would have been and like you said, there was like 7 guys that could have won that.
Yeah.
I mean, even with like 6 holes left, with Cam like 3 back, I'm like, I'm not calling that one dead. Like, he's got a couple scoring holes, and some guys could miss some putts, and then Wrighton just didn't miss any putts, obviously. But Sungjae was right there. He was leading at one point. I had Nico and Cam.
Yeah, that was Sanjay. Very impressive.
It's funny. I did look at Alex Fitz last week, and that was another regret. It's like, should I just be betting this guy top 20 until they fix his numbers? Like, he's a legit golfer right now. He's playing with crazy confidence, and obviously he finally rounding into form on the other tour, came over here, got the team win, and he's a good golfer now.
Yeah. Won the India event too. So he was one on Saturday. It was like, man, he cannot keep getting away with this. He just found himself in trouble and figured it out. And then it came and bit him a little bit on Sunday, but he also didn't go away. Like he did battle back a little bit. So he was pretty impressive. Like I just think the Fitzpatrick brothers are kind of like, just kind of grinded out dogs. Like they're super duper competitive. They're fun. I mean, Fitz is one of the ones this week that I have probably a little FOMO on. I would have liked to get to Fitz if I didn't go to Rory. And Rahm and Xander are the other top tier guys that I'll be mad if they win. Not that I really considered either of them, but like I've bet Xander so much this season. I bet Rahm so much in majors the last couple of years. So if one of them gets over, I'll be a little bit frustrated. But those are big prices. So I think we've seen really outside of Phil at Kiowa, just absolutely insane that happened. By the way, PGA's been giving us top of the board winners for a decade, and I think there's some signal there. I'm not sure why.
Let's go, Cameron.
Yeah, that's all I got, buddy.
Yeah, like I said, I had some DFS notes. Scotty Scheffler is very expensive. I don't know what to tell you to do there. You have to look into your heart and decide what you think the ownership's actually going to be. And if you like him, and you can be heavy on him because there's plenty of guys. I'll start from the bottom. Do you know what Alex Fitzpatrick's DFS price is this week, Mister?
I don't. I've not looked at any DFS stuff, but I imagine it's 6K or below.
It's below. It's 5,900. There's guys you can fill in that are pretty cheap if you really want to build around Scotty and somebody else.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that I like that I know. I did a Golf Digest tiers pool type article, so I know some guys that are down the board a little bit. I think that Alex Smalley's pretty interesting. Alex Smalley's playing.
He's on my list.
Really good golf.
He's on a heater. Like he's just on a heater. He's playing like a top 25 golfer in the world right now, and he's like 61.
Yeah.
Smotherman's a fun dart. He's another one that just like, hey, he can hit his approach shots. Maybe make some putts. He's, a GPP kind of dart. McGreevy is another guy that he's super cheap, just makes cuts. He's not going to win this thing. He's not going to compete. But if you got to fill in down below, Smalley, Fitzpatrick, Smotherman, McGreevy, Ryan Gerard, our friend Ryan Gerard. I think he placed pretty decently at the PGA last year. He graded well for course fit. Obviously, further up, we have the Fowler, Højgaard, Spaun. We've already talked about.
Ricky's got to be so popular, right? Like Nikolai and Ricky, I think are going to be.
Yeah.
Given their recent finishes, like being Nikolai's 6,500, Ricky's 7,400.
Yeah, it's great. Like you said, those are great. They're great fits. They're good plays, but they're going to be popular. It's going to be high ownership. Yeah. Probably Spaun as well. Siwoo 79, maybe not, but he's obviously the putting's going to be concerned, but maybe just maybe makes up for with the approach because it can be elite at times.
Matt McCarty's 5,700.
Yeah,
playing really good golf, and yeah, if this is not like a super long course, but even last week, long course showed out pretty well. I imagine, these are the guys too, when you think about people trying to build with multiple top tier guys or just jamming Scotty in the start like that. It's not even just like the ownership. It's like the correlation, right? It's just like the number of teams that have McCarty, Nikolai, maybe even Alex and Scotty. Like all of a sudden you got to get really unique with those other two because it's not just like cumulative ownership. It's like the actual build being copied. It's tricky. Play on FanDuel. It's easier.
Last one, bit of a fade, I think, but I'll have to see what ownership comes in on. Justin Thomas, kind of expensive. for he's 9,400.
Yeah, that's,
He's not modeling well for anyone.
no.
He loses strokes off the tee in majors for the last few. This is a course that punishes positional misses severely. So I think he's a little expensive. So congrats on a top 5 for JT. Now that I called him fade. But I mean, there's better guys in that range. Like you said, if you like Hatton, if you like Morikawa, you like Fleetwood, you like Henley, some of those guys are going to be popular. Kind of mix and match. Bryson's almost 11,000. He's another one where if you have a reason for it, by all means, but I can't get there.
You started with Bryson, you're probably pretty unique. So, which is, I guess, part of the goal, but not the end goal per se. You can get points for unique lineups.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, if you're doing 150 lineups, you're gonna have to have some Bryson.
For sure.
It's one of those things. Everybody's DFS experience is different. If you're just the guy that's making 2 or 3 lineups a week, you got to make some decisions. If you're making 150, it's more about ownership positions.
Correct.
At that point. So.
Yep.
And then one and done. Who fucking knows? It's getting later in the year, so it's tough. Like, are you leading? Are you trailing?
Right.
Did you use a lot of good guys? Did you not use a lot of good guys yet? It's really, like you said, I'm kind of with Newton here, where I think it's going to be top heavy, like PGAs tend to be. But if you're really trailing, maybe you got to throw somebody out there. Maybe you have to put JJ Spaun into your spot here and just hope he T4s and one of the favorites doesn't win.
That'd be your path for sure. I mean, I feel like we thought Rahm and Bryson would eat a bunch of one and done ownership for the PGA Championship and for the U.S. Open in particular. Bryson in particular probably being one of those clicks for a lot of people, but here we are getting significantly less buzz about them because again, I don't know where Bryson's head's at. I don't know what he was talking about, just playing on YouTube all the time.
Yeah, what if I'm just a YouTube guy? Which honestly, like, if you don't care about the prestige and whatever, if you're over it, and you've got some majors, like that's a lot less stress. Hey, I'm gonna chip a ball off the Blarney Stone this week. Come with me.
Yeah.
Okay, like whatever. If he's doing numbies, it's fine.
Yeah. Does that get you ready for your peers at a high level? I would think
That's
not.
what I'm saying. If he doesn't care anymore, I guess go do YouTube. It's fine.
Yeah. At a certain point, though, your eligibility dries up if you're not showing up at the major championships and winning and competing.
It's not like he's won at Augusta.
Right. I mean, he's got the Pinehurst U.S. Open that carries him for a couple more years, but got to go do it again to extend the wheel.
I would just try to get really good. I'd play Sawgrass just like 30 times a year. Just go get a top 12 there.
Yeah.
Doesn't that get you like 2 years?
Yeah. Most wins do though.
Most, yeah. Or just go win one.
Yeah.
Go play Bermuda.
Yeah.
Or something silly.
Yeah.
Just
complete off-field event.
It is really funny because go like the Mexico one in the fall. Like, why did we bet Potgieter? Because he's poor man's Bryson. Like, just Bryson would win one of those events by like 5 strokes without much of a warm up, just because he'd be driving the green on a couple of the holes and just get good with your wedges, buddy. And then you can play all the majors next year.
There you go.
I should be Bryson's manager. So, all right. We'll call it a week. We'll see you here next week for Crag Ranch. And, good luck. We'll see you guys.